All right. What were you saying? You're transferring jokes from notebooks to something.
My paper notebooks. I always write in paper notebooks because I've always heard that it's good for your memory. I
Right.
like that thing, and I used to write a lot on the computer when we did sketch, but just because I've been doing stand up, I just constantly always write notebooks that you carry around.
Hmm.
And I'm transferring it over. I'm taking my paper notebooks, my paper notes into my computer, and I'm sorting them based off of like sketch. Because if it's not, I don't write a sketch except in the computer. So it could be sketch ideas I haven't written yet. It could be true stories that I just remembered in a moment, or one time I was writing stories telling other people,
Hmm.
then jokes and just jokes. And then with those jokes, I'm sorting them. I'm going to sort them into categories like political, sexual, silly,
Yeah.
one-liners, stuff like that.
See, this is the kind of conversation that I feel like I hate in normal life, but I think it's great for web content. I don't know why.
You know,
I,
who is it? I never listened to him, but there's a podcast with contemporaries of ours. I know they were in New York. I can't think of the name, but I know the name of the podcast is "Let's Talk About Sex."
uh-huh.
I listened to it once, and it was really good, and I just never listened to it again. But I do always love hearing comics talk. Only because I'm a comic, I like hearing them talk about their writing process
Oh,
or
sure.
books in general too.
But it's also a
I
I'm
think I got to keep be
oh, I'm guessing on
you
some
know
level it's a drag to do this. It feels like a chore, even though it's like kind of exciting.
I
Um,
think yeah, it almost feels like vacuuming, like you got to do it, but it doesn't really feel accomplished. Though I'm telling myself, yeah, I am.
oh yeah.
Like I'm.
Um, I'm in the process of like cleaning up and rearranging my apartment. I found a dream journal that I started in 1997.
Oh wow,
I
that must
never,
that's
I haven't read through it yet. I just saw the dates, but I never even remembered me doing anything like that far back.
98,
97.
97. What you were in? Were you still in university?
I was in
Were you,
college, yeah, but I was like 21.
okay, interesting. Yeah, it'd be interesting
What
to read me, but like if I start not to try to read it right away.
um have you found any new jokes that you've in this transfer process that you'd forgotten about?
I mean, I have the paper. I don't want to open up the computer, but
Yeah.
there was something on my. Um, I'm gonna the two things getting watching my siblings get spanked and
Mm-hmm.
gay uncles are always the coolest. At least my uncles were the coolest. I had
Oh.
three gay uncles, and they were super cool. And yeah, and then also when I was a kid, my parents believed in corporal punishment, and
Mm-hmm.
being at our church, we would get consistently spanked.
Oh yeah. At church?
Yeah, it was super exciting when you weren't the main part. Like you'd just be like, "Oh man, she's gonna get beat."
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
wondering. You also know, like, you got beat last week, right? So you're just like, "What? She getting away with this shit?"
Yeah, yeah. I didn't see kids get spanked at my church, at least not that I remember, but there was definitely moms walking kids to the back of the church, like
Yeah,
holding their arm very tight.
that's
So the kid had
yeah.
to walk like this, like walk,
Mm-hmm.
walk.
Looking around for somebody to help them.
Yeah,
Like so,
yeah.
you all know what's about to happen. Why is no one stepping in?
Right.
Yeah, they bring them back to the woman in our place. They bring them back to the woman's bathroom, and yeah, even if there were women in there, you're getting beat in front of a hot girl, a hot teenager. Just
Right.
you're like 6, and you know they're hot. You don't know why, and you just know that you shouldn't get beat in front of them.
I want to
Yeah.
I want to talk to those parents, 20, 30 years after the fact and be like, "What was the big deal?"
Mm-hmm. Oh, my parents will still answer. I'm sure it's disrespect. They're expecting you to crazy though. You're taking away the kid to play, and now you're just
Oh,
this solemn. Just sit there for
yeah.
2 hours. Like 2 hours.
Um
Our church is 2 hours.
yeah. Oh, geez, yeah. I mean, I get the disrespect thing, but it's also like just walk them back to the back of the church and just talk to them. Why are
Yeah.
we angry?
Yeah. Yeah. Why you? Yeah. God is love, right? God is love.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That well, we should put it on the priest for not quoting that while it was going on.
While it's happening. Yeah. 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 But no, man. I mean, the Bible's really good about telling you to spoil the rod,
Oh
spare the
yeah,
rod, spoil the child. Whatever. They love writing articles about that.
yeah, yeah.
You how long did you go to church for? Did you go
Uh,
forever?
I mean, I kind of fought it in high school, but I still relented, you know. And sometimes I would try to schedule things on Sundays so I could get out of church. It was just sort of like, oh, I have this extracurricular thing for school I have to do, you know. And then
Yeah.
when I went away to college, for some reason I still went like once a month maybe, but that didn't last long. And I was just sort of like, why am I
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
this?
When did you not believe in it?
Mm.
Was it after you stopped going to church or while you were still going?
No, it was when I was confirmed in the 8th grade.
Really? So it was like, so you had a full moment.
It's yeah, but I had like we were told to get confirmed in the 8th grade, and then we had to have a meeting with like a priest or brother and talk about our faith. And in
Mm.
it, they said, you're allowed to say you don't want to be confirmed. So I'm going to ask you if you want to be confirmed or not. And I said, I want to. And I immediately regretted it. And I knew that I couldn't say no. I felt like the parents would have
You just
been
didn't know it was a choice until he gave you the choice, and
right,
then
right,
he gave you
right.
the choice, and you're like, "Shit,
Yeah,
interesting." Yeah, I guess too. Yeah, that's all of a sudden becomes like you didn't know the importance of it until it happens, right? You don't
right.
know how important it is. Interesting.
When's the last time you did go? Oh, all right.
Uh,
Well, I have a interesting church anecdote. And it's
sure.
that when my dad got remarried, and you know, it was like an exciting time because it was like I now had step siblings. It was very new, and I was over there for one of the first, I think, for the first Christmas with like that new side of the family.
Yeah, yeah.
And I didn't know that church was going to be. It was Christmas Eve. I didn't know church was going to be an option. And my dad said, "All right, everyone, we're going to church." And then he looked at me and he was like, "But some people are going to stick around here and watch Lord of the Rings. You probably want to do that instead." And I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, that was great.
And I
Good for
didn't
your
even
dad.
love. And I didn't even love Lord of the Rings. I always just thought
Yeah,
it was okay.
I like to us too. As church, like Lord of the Rings would be like the opposite. Like that'd be the worst thing. It's like might as well watch pornography.
Uh
And
huh.
like demons and warlocks and ores and all that stuff. Yeah,
Oh, right, right.
yeah. So that would have been like, all right, you heathens. Here's a pile of sin you can watch while we go. Try to
Pray
pray
for
your.
pray for you.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to do your work for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Last time I went to church, I went when I was in New York. Somebody passed away,
Mm.
and I went to like their funeral. Yeah, that would be at the last, and that would probably be the only reason why I'd go to that would be for a funeral because there's still people I want to pay respect for.
Yeah.
Though it is disconcerting, I'll tell you, when they do, it still becomes because the Jehovah's Witnesses they're all about the sale, and it'll still be like 5-10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. Because the time before it was my grandmother, and it really bothered me. I literally
Mm-hmm.
wrote down notes to see how many times they talked about my grandmother and her personality, and like what she believed in, and then they just started telling her. So they spent way more time on what she believed in
Oh,
than
wow.
self, which is so frustrating. You don't get birthdays.
Yeah.
You don't get birthdays. They'll celebrate your death. That's what Jesus. That's what we do with Jesus. And then you go to a celebration of their death, and it's nothing about it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why mine will be a party.
I have
What do you think your funeral would be?
well, I haven't implemented this, but this is a recent decision that I had where I was going to tell like 15 to 20 close friends what I wanted my funeral to be like, but I was
Okay.
going to tell them all different things
Very nice.
for
Very nice.
the purpose of it being more of a frustrating thing, only because I want them to really remember me.
Really put some effort into it.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, that's
And
good.
and I want people to work together in my memory to create something.
So maybe they would. Maybe you could. Maybe it's so elaborate that there is a solve to it. You know.
Sure. Oh
So
yeah.
they
Like the
put
Da
it together.
Vinci Code.
Yeah, some kind of puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
Mm.
good. Like an escape room, or they.
An escape room funeral, yeah. Nobody's leaving until they say one good thing about this
Yeah.
guy.
I wouldn't mind them saying bad shit too. I
Oh
think that would
yeah.
be. I don't mind. You know, obviously, I hope that my life is filled with comedians at the end of it, and if they get to be funny, that would be great.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, but and that always gets a laugh in those things when you're all hoity-toity. Lex like cheeseburgers more than anyone I know.
I saw a real crazy documentary the other night on Amazon Prime. You don't have Amazon Prime out in Thailand,
No,
do you? No. Okay. Well, I'll just give you a quick rundown of it. It's called The Ringmaster, and I don't know why I was drawn to it. I was just flipping through for like recommendations. I was like,
okay,
I want to watch a documentary, and I landed on this one. It's called The Ringmaster. Title is very sort of open ended, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the description was, this is a documentary about a guy who makes incredible onion rings, but he doesn't want to be the focus of a documentary. So the documentary turns into a focus on why we're even making this documentary.
Yeah.
And and even that description really doesn't do justice to like how weird and fucked up it is.
The money is spent, Charles. We
Yeah.
got it, but we blew it quick. Yeah, it's
Well,
money.
they go into it. This guy spent 3 years and most of his inheritance making this documentary, and it currently only has like 11 ratings on Facebook or on Amazon Prime.
Amazing. Wow.
Um, but it was fascinating. I kind of want to get the filmmaker. I tried reaching out to the filmmaker. I kind of want to get him on the Saturday show.
Yeah, that'd be great. What and I don't know if you take offense, but like bad theater or bad film would be seems like right up its alley.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
He's
you and
above. He's above Bad Film Fest. You know what I mean.
he made one, you know, apparently.
That's true.
I
Yeah,
mean, but
you're
I
right.
guess, but you enjoyed it. But I guess it is also. I mean, even if he was able to salvage the original intent, wasn't good. I guess if you
Right.
want to
Well,
categorize it, anything is good.
yeah. Well, I mean, he even goes. The filmmaker himself goes into the fact of like, I thought this would be a good thing for this person, and it turned into maybe
And
a
then
bad thing for this person. Like he didn't want the attention.
interesting. To why he didn't want to. You
What's
don't have to say what the answer was, but did he? He's like, I'm curious to watch this. Do
yeah?
they go into? Do they explain why he doesn't want a documentary about him?
He's just
Do
like
you have
a
a valid?
he's just like a private guy, but he was making
Who were
incredible.
these humans? They're really that good. The onion rings are that good.
People would travel like across the state to get these onion rings. And he didn't own his own place. Like he had a restaurant, but the restaurant closed, and so he
Yeah,
just found bars that let him make onion rings in their kitchen, and people would find out where he was currently at and start traveling. Yeah, and it turned around the business of the bar because people would go there just for the onion rings.
this sounds so like not just not amazing. Amazing seems like a too good of a word.
Right.
It's like so weird that that food, that particular food too, and it's only
Right.
and only onion rings,
Yeah.
only two. It's so weird.
I've never had an onion
Yeah,
ring.
I mean, all right, good find,
Yeah,
good
yeah,
find.
yeah. I've never had an onion ring where I was like, oh, I have to remember this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Though, the most, I remember one of my favorite meals I ever had was at a place in New York. It was a Japanese restaurant, and I had edamame.
Mm,
And the edamame was unbelievable. So I don't know, maybe, maybe onion rings. But it seems so weird, especially
yeah,
as fried food. Fried food is fried food. It's
yeah.
always good. It's not. It's never amazing.
Secret batter is what he
I
says.
think
Secret
the
batter.
only time I was ever surprised was like the first time I had tempura. I was
Mm,
like, oh, this is different. This is a whole new taste. And that was it. One time. That was the end of it.
mm. I recently had cashew yogurt, which was very good. Oh, and sunflower. The first time I had sunflower seed butter was it blew my mind.
What was the first thing? Because you cut out.
Cashew yogurt.
Oh, cashew yogurt.
Yeah, it's
Never had
good.
it.
It's good.
Really interesting.
High
Oh,
end. Yeah, nuts are
okay.
expensive.
Okay. Whole
Yeah,
Foods stat.
yeah,
You had at Whole Foods. Interesting. Yeah, I think sunflower butter is great. It is. It's a good butter.
yeah. Good butter.
Solid butter.
Yeah.
They rarely use. You rarely see margarine in America anymore, but they rarely use real butter here. It's almost all
Mm,
margarine. They're
hmm.
really rough. This,
Marketing.
yeah. And mayonnaise. They have this weird mayonnaise they add to it. Like it's very sweet. Most of their mayonnaise. It's really
Hmm.
disappointing. Um, I haven't seen a good documentary in a while. But I was telling you before about Brian Regan's special,
Yeah.
and or hour. I don't like calling it a special without something like I don't know something else to it, but maybe it would be. I don't know. I will say it's as good or better. Man, it's tough to say better, but I'll put it up there with like Dave Chappelle stuff. I
Wow.
would argue watching that he's as good a comic as anybody on the planet, and maybe better, because the effort we all know to be universal, and you could play that in front of your kid and not be embarrassed. You could play that for anybody and not be embarrassed about it.
Yeah.
So the editing, the self control, and the oh man, it just
Brian.
so well written, so well
Yeah. Brian
performed.
Regan.
Also acts
He's
out more than anybody. He does. It's set up.
he's up there for me. I mean, I think he's hilarious, but and also I only really remember one of his jokes, and it's a joke that I didn't like.
Really.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably he puts you so in the moment that you just and you're just laughing I mean, it's joke after joke.
Oh
Every
yeah.
joke has a joke. He did one great thing too, which he set it up where he can kind of like, uh, shit on annoying people by putting them all at the same party, but
Hmm.
just so subtle that I'm sure the audience doesn't recognize it. But him just moving from a cluster of conversation to a next cluster of conversation, and by doing it, it doesn't become repetitive. It's such a and then callbacks. He has enough callbacks. It's really good. It's
I'll,
really,
I'll
really
watch. I'll watch it this week sometime.
yeah. That was.
He's also one of my favorite.
Looking forward to watching Patrice.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Go ahead. I
Oh,
stopped.
Brian Regan was one of my favorite comedians in cars getting coffee episodes.
Oh yeah, you
He
can see that
tells
friendship. Is cool.
he tells two stories in that I always think about. It's the one where he had a job and the guy he was working with was like, "Hey, we can sneak behind this wall and not have to do work." And he was just standing there not doing work.
The walls inches away.
Yeah, yeah. Because I've done that kind of stuff at jobs before, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And
Game,
then,
game the system.
yeah, oh yeah. And then the other thing he says was like, he starts about talking about how we're all just killing time, and he talks about what if a airline pilot got on and was talking about like we're cruising at such and such altitude, and we're we're, we're scheduled to land in 2 hours, and we're all just killing time here. Um, but yeah, And then yeah, the Patrice O'Neill documentary. I have not seen it yet, but I bet it is incredible.
I haven't heard if it was incredible or not. I'm just looking
Yeah.
forward to it. I know it's interesting. I think we mentioned it or on the Stoner Morning Show, the big show, but the Andrew Schultz, who I think is really funny, he was talking about the Dave Chappelle thing that came out, which I describe as a commercial for Netflix.
Uh-huh. Oh
That's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But he was saying that Patrice O'Neill is his number one, and I was, I do think Patrice O'Neill is brilliant, but I couldn't put him up there.
Yeah.
But I think like after seeing Brian Regan, he's always done exceptional. I don't know any of it. His last Netflix special wasn't that great, but other than that, but it was still entertaining.
Yeah.
Um, but he's also one of those comics that I always forget, like Colin Quinn. I'll forget, and I'm really fighting to try to remember like those guys because they're always, I think they're exceptional.
Yeah, yeah. Colin Quinn took like a decade to win me over in a way. You know what I mean?
Well, he has that, and Patrice O'Neill too. I remember watching Patrice when he first came out. What I'd hear him on Opie and Anthony, or I'd see him on like Tough Crowd with Colin Quinn,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to like him, and then I'd listen to his stand up, and it was all muddled, and the way he speaks is all like how I'm doing now, just very unprofessional. And but then he won me over as I got older and knew the
Right.
craft a little bit better. Colin Quinn does that same thing, that kind of like herky jerky. He did a lot more, I think, earlier on too.
Mm-hmm.
So I could get that. I agree.
Yeah, yeah.
I could understand that more. But man, what he's doing with his last like four, with taking one topic and almost he does like what the Europeans are doing and Americans, but better. Like combining both and then making them both better. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Lots of recommendations out there for stuff to watch.
Yeah, you've watched them all though, I'm guessing, right?
The Mall.
Colin Quinn, right? You've watched those like Red State and
I think I've seen most of them. I don't know if I've seen everything. Um, I also never tell myself I have to see stuff. I don't know. It's just, I mean, very rarely am I like, oh, I have to see this, you know?
well, you were saying you never saw Thor 2?
Yeah.
What? And do you feel, they say, I don't remember because I never watched it a second time, but I watched it.
Yeah.
And they say it was super integral to not integral, because they go back in that same movie, at
Right.
the last MCU movie. I do know I started seeing commercials for WandaVision, and it's almost like I like those movies so much, I almost feel obligated to watch these movies.
Yeah. I was almost,
Too much.
I was going to cancel Disney Plus and then I was like, I'll watch WandaVision. And the first two were okay. And then the third one was really good, I think. But the rest of it has been like kind of impressive.
Really?
Yeah. Like,
Did you ever watch Agents of Shield?
no.
Yeah, my friend, one of my friends did, and he said it was good and it interplayed with the movie. But
Yeah.
obviously, you don't need to watch it to enjoy the movies.
If a TV season is like 10 episodes, I'm like, oh, I can do that. But if it's like 20, I'm like, I'm not interested. It's too much, you know?
Hmm. I have the quantum leap fear. I call it my quantum leap fear because I was so involved in quantum leap when I was a kid,
Me
and
too, yeah.
then it just ended. I know that they did come back. I don't know if they actually came back or not because I think I'm too young to remember. But I know they did. I ultimately did see a button to the end of the show.
I can tell you how it ended.
Please, yeah, please. Can you? Yeah, I don't mind a refresher. I'd still watch it again.
It's he leaps into like an old west saloon, I think,
Okay.
which it messed with his head a little bit because it was like it felt like he was out of his because you know how he could only leap into the
Lifetime.
years that he was yeah, yeah. So it felt like he leaped farther back into the past, and he went into a bar and the bartender knew his name as Dr. Sam or whatever. And it turned out, and this was an hour-long episode, and it turned out he was God, and God gave him the choice to go back home or continue his work of time traveling and fixing things. And I think he chose to continue to time travel
Ugh.
because God told him to.
Yeah, now he's on a mission from God. Oh,
It
weird.
was kind of a letdown.
Yeah, it's all those things of like when you find out how important the ending is, and I guess I found it. Oh, and I guess you know what the other one was like that was Heroes. Heroes started off. Do you remember that TV show Heroes?
Yeah, I never watched it.
Yeah, and it was the first season was exceptionally good. It was
Mm-hmm.
captivating, even that vein of like Lost, where it was like you watched the end of it and was like you just wanted to, you needed to watch the second one. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
you just keep going, keep going. So, and that was before Lost. I think Heroes came out before Lost, and I invested so much time, and I really enjoyed it. I watched 3 seasons of it, and it
Mm-hmm.
just slowly devolved into garbage. And nobody talks about it as one of the greatest writing. But at the beginning, it was like this is changing television, you know.
Yeah.
And then that's how I got into Lost. Was watching it. They said, "Oh, Lost is out heroing heroes." So
and then
that's why I
lost it.
Yeah, but you know, I could still go back and watch Lost. I watched it a second time with like an ex-girlfriend of mine, and she really enjoyed it. And then didn't, and I warned her that the ending might be a letdown. But when I watched it through a second time, it was like 7 seasons and like 24 episodes of each one.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, even knowing the end. I probably enjoyed it even more. And there's a lot of questions that weren't answered, but like I got to enjoy it for what it is, and just assuming I'm buttoned up so clean.
Yeah.
But that being said, it's like still, you know, I wait for a series to complete before I get invested, except for the Mandalorian.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Again, because I feel like I'm missing out with Star Wars. I feel like I have to keep up. I have to keep up with the content.
Oh yeah. I'd give it a solid B. The Mandalorian.
Mandalorian, yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. I don't like.
You can commit. You don't have any unresolved issues with television shows?
I don't know. I don't feel burned by much because I don't try to watch a lot of stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I do. I mean, I do watch stuff.
Are there shows where you were kids? Like, I don't have that issue not knowing whatever happened to Voltron, you know? But now that I say it, I'm kind of curious of what happened in that universe, you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you have anything like Smurfs, Gargoyle, or anything? He-Man? What happened to He-Man at the end?
I don't know. There's got to be an answer for like unresolved. I mean, I was pretty mad when the Greatest American Hero got canceled.
Oh, that was a good show. I remember.
Yeah.
I wasn't young. I was too young to realize that it came on at a certain time of day. Like, this is how dumb I am. Like, it was only on once a week. So I would just hope that would be on. Like, if I was up late. If I saw that curly-haired little guy, I'd be like, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Silly.
Yeah, I don't know. I should care more about TV.
Oh, no, I'm just.
Yeah, no, I know. But what a fun memory I have is like, do you remember like when you were a kid and they would do like a Friday night preview of the new Saturday morning cartoons that were about to come out?
Yes.
That was so exciting. I feel like I asked to eat cereal at night while that was on to get me sort of in that Saturday morning like mode.
Yeah. Yeah. For a while during our childhood, they had the Disney Hour or Disney, like it was like a chunk of Disney shows like Chip and Dale's and
good theme song.
What?
Good theme song.
Yeah. Hey, Chip and Dale. What was Chip and Dale's theme song? I'm thinking of DuckTales. DuckTales. Oh, that's what it was. DuckTales.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Also good theme song.
Yeah. That was Chip and Dale, right? or Duck. No, Ducktales was with Chip and Dale's had. Oh man, it's crazy how it all mushes together.
Yeah, it was Chip and Dale's Rescue
Oh, great.
Rangers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and then Dale got to wear an Indiana Jones outfit. That was
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
A bomber jacket. That's cool. Yeah, I was into all that. It was I guess that was not. It's so funny. I think I had like that hour or two before my parents got home where you could before they kicked you out and made you do like real stuff, right?
Mow the lawn.
Yeah, any active or just go out and play or do your homework or anything like
Right.
that. Yeah. I'd run home, especially when I was the first to get home, and then I'd get cereal. I'd eat cereal also to watch the cartoons after school. And because I was like one of five growing up, like cereal was a high commodity. We'd hide all that stuff from each other.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
Um,
that was yeah, yeah.
somebody sent me a
Get
message.
home, see what hasn't been eaten.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody sent me a
What?
message that just says DuckTales. That's it.
DuckTales, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
We agree.
McCloud, I think his name was right. McCloud, the guy who drove the plane, never really took off as a real character afterward. He only showed up in that integral cartoon for so many people, and then never recame.
For DuckTales?
Yeah, yeah. Do you remember he drove like that old bomber, like World War II bomber? It was like a duck that drove a bomber plane, and he was like strong and handsome. He's like a lead role kind of duck.
Yeah. Was that Launchpad McQuack?
Launchpad McQuack. Yeah.
Yeah. He was the character that introduced children to
Never hear about
PTSD.
him anymore.
He was the character that introduced children to PTSD because he always
Really?
like yeah. I mean, in my mind, because he always
You're my-
yeah, yeah,
yeah. All right. Good. Very good.
yeah. All right. Well, this was good. I don't know. Like, do you have any closing thoughts? I feel like this was good.
Yeah, I always like talking. Yeah.
Yeah,
Whenever we talk, it's pretty
yeah,
enjoyable
yeah,
usually.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
All right. I'm gonna stop this, and then I don't know. We'll watch
Talk.
us tomorrow.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and don't tune in next Friday at this time expecting to see us or Greatest American Hero because we're not doing this next week at this time. We're doing this at another time.
Yeah. It'll be random,
Yeah.
or we'll figure it out.